Hello everyone, and today we are talking about 10.2 Vengeance Demon Hunter. Now, Vengeance Demon Hunter has had a pretty significant rework, and we're going to have to talk about playstyle changes. Mostly in Mythic Plus, Raid is going to Raid is Raid, and it's going to kind of play like it always has. It's still incredibly strong for Raid, but in Mythic Plus is where this spec is going to truly shine. So today we're going to talk about tier set bonus, what it is, how it affects the class, and talk about some of the talent reworks and things like that, and, when to break your tier and that sort of stuff. So let's get right into it. So the new tier bonus: when you attack a target afflicted by Sigil of Flame, your damage and healing are increased by 2%, and your stamina is increased by 2% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So basically a 10% damage, healing, and stamina bonus while you're upkeeping this, right? Sigil of Flame's periodic damage has a chance to flare up, shattering an additional soul fragment from a target and dealing additional damage, 16,000 on this one here. Each 40 Fury reduces the cooldown by 1%. Now, when the rework started happening, a lot of things were bugged. We weren't getting the dual sigils. We weren't getting the tier set application, wasn't reducing the, it was barely proccing, or when it was proccing, it wasn't reducing, and the Fury wasn't dealing with Sigil of Flame and things like that. But before we talk about just how good this tier set, because it's Sigil of Flames, we also have to talk about the talent rework just a little bit. Sigil of Flame is now baseline. It is not your free point. You just straight up get it, and Sigil of Misery is now your free point. Yay! There is a new talent called Illuminated Sigils, which will give you 1 additional charge for each of your sigils. And if that sounds broken, it's because it is. 2 Sigil of Chains, 2 Sigil of Miseries, 2 Sigil of Silences, along with the Releasing Decree and Sigil of Flame. And there is a new talent here as well, Ascending Flame, where multiple applications of Sigil of Flame may overlap. So with this, it was not difficult to get them to overlap fairly consistently while keeping full uptime on them when I was kind of doing some testing. But it wasn't one of those things where you absolutely wanted to just double up the Sigil of Flames. You kind of wanted to sparse them out to keep the uptime on them, because you do have talents like Illuminated Sigils, which also increases your chance to parry from enemies affected by your Sigil of Flame, which in Mythic Plus, this is actually incredibly strong. Full uptime on Demon Spikes is still more than possible, and if you've played Vengeance at all in Season 2, you may know that there's been a Demon Spikes cancel aura macro. They've changed the way Demon Spikes works, so that way that macro doesn't work anymore, but it's for the better. Demon Spikes now stacks, and you're still going to get your bonus from Calcified Spikes when your original press of Demon Spike ends. So really, they've made this just be a lot simpler and a lot smoother. They also moved Sigil of Chains from the far right over to the middle here. Dark Glare Boon is over here where Elysian Decree and Fodder was. Elysian Decree is now over in the class tree, and Fodder is just straight up gone. Now, I've been playing with the Hunt and Collective Anguish in Mythic Plus, and while I think the Hunt may win out due to the buffs that they got from removing the talent options underneath it, Collective Anguish is just passive and easy to play because you are getting quite a few more buttons to press, right? We are getting Sigil of Chains, we're getting Sigil of Misery, that's now being able to put on the bars, and along with some other stuff, Fellblade is another one that we can now just take. But you kind of have to take it because before, with the way the tree worked, you didn't have to use many talents to be able to get Soul Rending and Immo armor, but now it's kind of one of the only things that's really, really good. You could opt for the Generate Fury on a successful interrupt. That's very strong as well if you do want it. But the stuff over here on the left is kind of very difficult, like the Master Glaive, Champion of the Glaive. I wouldn't be opting into that to be able to get Soul Rending. So if your true options are Fellblade, which does generate Fury, and Successful Kick. So I would probably opt for Fellblade because it has a lesser cooldown, has a chance to reset, and if you do double up on a kick with your pug partners or whatever, and you don't get that Fury, you're not losing anything, and this just straight up generates Fury. Also gives you another movement ability. If you need to get threat on something that's kind of a running off, you can just zoom right over, which is really, really nice. I do like this button. It's a lot of fun to press. But we have to also talk about 2-minute Metamorphosis, because Rush of Chaos now reduces the cooldown of meta by 60 seconds, and it's now a 2-minute cooldown. Very, very nice. And Feldev is now a 40-second base cooldown as well. So there, we've covered the basics over kind of the Vengeance changes. There are some more, but that's pretty much what you need to know. Now, breaking the tier set, right? Because we do have... Hello everyone, Future Maz here, and we gotta talk about tier sets because The suggestions that I made before are now inaccurate because they are nerfing the Aberrus tier set going into 10.2 because it is incredibly strong. So the changes they're making are to the 4-piece in particular, where Shear and Fracture still deal fire damage, but it's consuming, after consuming 60 soul fragments, no longer 20, your next cast of Fracture will apply Fiery Brand for 3 seconds, no longer 6. With this nerf, I mean, you obviously wanted the new tier as fast as possible. Now it is you can break this 4-piece as fast as you can, get your new 2-piece, and you're more than fine in going along into it. But I just needed to state that. So I hope you have yourselves a good day. We'll get back to the rest of the video. Bye. And you can still take the Fiery Brand talents. Now, the Fiery Brand talents have also been reworked a little bit, where Fiery Brand spreads every 1 second instead of every 2, but its damage is halved to make up for it, right? So it's the same amount of damage over time, just halved instead, and more frequent, right? So they moved Revel and Pain over here and swapped it for Fell Flame Fortification, which we're going to want Chains of Anger, which is going to increase the duration of your sigils by 2 seconds and its radius by 2 yards. Now, the increased radius is nice, but the real meat here is the sigils is reduced by 2 seconds, and Cycle of Binding. So afflicting an enemy with a sigil reduces the cooldown of your sigils by 3 seconds. Incredibly broken, like, just so many Sigil of Silences, so many Sigil of Miseries. Like, you do have so many options to go through and take so many good things, which I think the right side of the tree is going to be fairly dominant. Now, I did opt for some Fiery Brand stuff here, which when I was playing with it is still really, really good, but you could also opt for Painbringer, you could opt for Soul Furnace. There's some things that you can go around and change. Burning Alive, like if you're not taking Burning Alive, I really wouldn't worry about Fiery Demise, but still having Burning Alive with Fiery Demise gives you a very strong 1-minute profile where you can just unleash a lot of magic damage, and fire damage, and Sigil of Flame deals a lot of fire damage now. They've buffed the ability, so it's actually not just worth pressing, but it's the majority chunk of your damage. So having that nice 1-minute profile with Fiery Demise and Fiery Brand active is really not bad at all, and kind of fun to play through. There's a couple of different talent builds that I've been going through and testing, and as 10.2 really ramps up live, and we get to play with this live a little bit more to see kind of how things work out, I will be updating the build from there. But this is kind of what I've been having fun and playing with for now. The playstyle is really, really fun. Sigils all day long. Let's go. Sigil of Chains. I forgot how fun this is to play with. Not to mention Sigil of Misery. So you are just going to be an AoE stop machine with having six stops for anything caster related. Really, like, it's so good. It's just so good. I love it. Lots of good stuff to be had there. I was already an Elysian Decree fan before. Now I'm even more so, having 2 charges of it. Chef's kiss. Let's go. And I'm happy Fodder's gone. I didn't like the Fodder playstyle at all, but I do understand that a lot of people did like it. I am talking a little fast because we had a lot to cover in this video. And yeah, that's it, man. Vengeance is going to be incredibly strong. Lots of fun. In all the testing that I've done, I'm having a blast. And if Havoc wasn't as strong as it's looking, and this is just me hearing how Havoc strong is, I have no idea how it plays, I would have definitely not been sad if they asked me to play Vengeance for the buff in Raid, because this is really, really good. And I'm going to have a lot of fun with this in Mythic Plus, especially in Mythic Plus. But yeah. So what do you guys think about Vengeance in 10.2? I think it's looking to be incredibly strong and fun. Have yourselves a good one, everyone. Happy tanking, and bye.